just start talking? Mm-hmm. Okay. I considered getting therapy when I realized that it's okay to want to talk to someone else and have someone else kind of hear your story and help you understand maybe certain behaviors that you have. Personally, in my family, we kind of grew up not thinking that sharing your emotions with a stranger is normal, but I think I hit a point in my adulthood where I was like, you know what? It's okay to like talk to someone else and maybe have someone else who doesn't know you listen to your story and listen to your issues and help guide you to make different decisions for your everyday life. I did not end up getting it, but it's something recently that I've been considering, and I'm thinking hopefully pretty soon here I will muster up the courage to make that first phone call and make an appointment.
I decided to get therapy when I was a little kid and I was having issues with my dad. It was an opportunity to kind of gain some confidence as a child, as I had a lot of anger and a lot of sadness. And over the years, it kind of helped me realize who I was as a person and gave me the confidence to leave. And it helped me escape a very toxic, negative situation. And I keep doing it to this day. If somebody was watching this and was looking for advice on therapy, I'd say go for it. It's obviously not for everybody. Some people are really scared of it. I have nothing negative to say about it. I think everybody could use it, but I'm not gonna force it on anybody.
I considered getting therapy in college during my sophomore year because, it was just a really hard time. They don't really teach you what college is going to be about in high school. So when I started college, it was a very tough time for me, and I was still trying to figure out my social circles. And when I got into college, I was in a relationship where he cheated on me, and then I found a rebound, and then that broke up. And I was also not doing well in college, so I did have a few sessions with a counselor. It was really nice to have someone to talk through my internal issues and realize that I had internal trauma that I didn't even really think about until it was brought to the surface, and we actually had a space to talk about those things. And that was actually the first and last time that I had therapy, because after that I was able to find a support group outside of therapy. But now that we're adulting, I'm getting to the point where I'm considering finding another therapist, but the issue is in adulthood there's no counseling service that you can tap into that's readily available. It's something that you kind of have to shop for and look for. So I'm kind of in that area right now where I'm trying to find a good therapist. So
I considered getting therapy when I had a ton of restless nights and I realized that I hated myself. Right now I can't afford therapy, but I've reached out to find a counselor. So hopefully I find someone to take on my case soon.
I wanted to get therapy for a while, but wasn't exactly sure how to do it or why to do it or when to do it. I had always kind of been pretty self-sufficient, and I've always had a lot of a really good network of people to talk to about things that were going wrong or things I needed to talk to. But I ultimately decided to actually go to therapy after my brother died. So that was kind of my huge deciding factor. But I, again, had a really good network of people that I could talk to, but I felt at that point, after my brother died, that everything had just been compounding. That was definitely the cherry on top of everything that I had gone through growing up. It wasn't really even a decision. It was just kind of I have to do this now. After my first session, I had kind of kicked myself that I hadn't gone years before. It was just really nice to get professional validation and be everything that you are saying is true, and you seem to have a good grasp on it, and everything's fine. It makes sense that you feel this way. And it's just been really eye-opening and helpful. If somebody out there is experiencing grief of any sort, from any relationship, I would absolutely recommend talking to someone about it. Literally anyone, anyone you trust. You don't necessarily need to go to therapy, but if it's an option for you and something that you want to invest in, I think I would never not recommend it. It has been incredibly helpful. I love therapy.
I decided to start doing therapy after a rough 9 months this year. Funny enough, I haven't started it yet. It's very hard to lock down your therapist. I feel like I've been dealing with a lot of pressure and stress and anxiety and all that stuff for most of my life. I think when I was in high school, it was something I just kind of accepted how I was feeling. I think working as a creative in LA can be very, very anxiety increasing because usually your day job isn't your only job. You're doing things here and there. And I told myself I was gonna work really hard during the day and work really hard at night. And it got to a point where I realized my body and my brain couldn't handle that.
I decided to get therapy when I felt my mental health was kind of at a breaking point and I needed somebody to talk to that wasn't already in my life. Work was getting to be a lot for me. Relationships weren't really going anywhere. I was 28 years old. Things were just feeling so out of control, and it felt like my life was being controlled by many other things and people, and I just needed to sit down and talk to somebody that could hopefully understand where I was coming from. Of course, you have your friends and you have your family, right? That's amazing. If those people are there for you, that is great. I did have friends and family that were there to me, but it was also very hard for me to open up about things that I was struggling with, especially my mental health. So talking to somebody that was disassociated with my life and could give me different viewpoints, it's helped me. Honestly, it's the best thing I've done. Yeah, I went to therapy when I was 16 for eating disorders. I went again around 21 for eating disorders, and then now at 28 for just my mental health. I have never gone to therapy before other than just talking about eating disorders. So it was new to me, but I definitely wasn't like standoffish. I was like, no, I need someone to talk to, and it's what I needed, you know? So I didn't want to suffer. I didn't want to take other people's time that maybe don't understand what I'm talking about anyway. So yeah, I knew I needed someone to talk to.
I decided to get therapy when I realized that I was relying on my friends for too much psychological issues, and I didn't want to put that pressure on them.
I realized I needed therapy when I was planning my wedding. In the middle of planning my wedding, my now husband and I were in the midst of several premarital counseling sessions, and it really brought up a lot of personal issues that I think I had been dealing with for a really long time. I am currently not in therapy, but it's definitely something that I want to tackle in the new year.
I decided to get therapy when my ex and I broke up. I don't know what else you really need.
So I started therapy when I was going through a really rough breakup. I was with someone for 6 years, and it was just like such a messy breakup. I didn't know how to deal with it, and I was just like very emotionally confused. I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat, and just like talking to friends, I just felt like I was like a burden to them because like all I did was just like repeating the same story, being like, I really don't understand. So I just decided to talk to someone that is like a professional that has the tools to deal with this. After like processing all those feelings, we dove deeper into like more what my core values are. So it's more like self-discovery, which was like something that I totally didn't know I needed, and I am in a much better place.
So I thought about taking therapy when I first moved out to Los Angeles. I moved out here in April of 2017, and I decided to quit all my jobs in Indianapolis, where I was at the time. But during that time, I came out here, no jobs. I was actually staying in a one-bedroom apartment with two other fraternity brothers. So it was a little hard. It was a little bit of a struggle, but it was 7 months until I got a first full-time position. I've always been able to have a job, to get a job, and to pursue my dreams where I was. And when I got out here, it was big culture shock. Those 7 months really tested me, and those months were where I thought I needed to like talk to somebody, because I felt like no one really, I couldn't really relate to any of my friends, because they either had a job out here or they were back in Indianapolis. It was a time where I was needing someone to confide into. I have yet to talk to someone, and it's actually been, I'm almost 3 years in, but since that time I've always been thinking about it, and that has been one of my goals to do soon, and I've actually started making steps into doing that. So by the time this video comes out, hopefully I will have said yes, I am taking therapy, and yes, I am seeking help, because mental health is more than necessary.
I decided to go to therapy because I just didn't understand why I was so angry all the time. I was always stressed out. I couldn't handle any stressors like a normal human being, or at least what I thought was normal. At the time I was working at Disney, I had my dream job. I just moved in with my now husband. Life still sucked. I ended up getting diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder, and then later I got diagnosed with depression. And I actually went to the Center for Individual and Family Counseling because I needed an affordable option because I was unemployed. I had just gotten laid off from Disney. I was super depressed. And I stayed with that therapist for 3 or 4 years. In that time, she had seen me through several jobs, another layoff, and actually a suicide attempt. Since then, I've actually written a book using all of the stuff that I did in art therapy. It was basically just this journey of what it was like to have depression and anxiety, and really make people feel like they're not alone. It's important to me, as somebody who is a suicide survivor and somebody who loves therapy, for other people to know that it's totally normal to not be normal, because it was the best thing I could have done for myself.